So
That's right. It's more real. Just, people notice how real something is if you're just two guys talking and life happens, dogs jump over fences and all that.
cats knock over tripods, that sort of thing. Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you saw it, but Ethan, Tennessee Slangin, one time his dog came on when he was doing a juggernaut challenge and like puked in the yard right in front of the camera.
Oh no.
It was awesome.
I know Ken Vandal too. He had a video one time where his dog just took a dump right in frame.
Yeah,
He's like, "What's this?" It was funny.
yeah,
Perfect
yeah.
timing.
Real life right there.
Yeah, that's the kind of gold you got to leave in a video, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's the famous D's fart.
Oh,
He
yeah.
lets, he lets one rip and he's like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Ah,
Admit.
whatever. Yeah, it's too funny. So it's only showing. Okay, it's showing 8 people on my end here, but it seems like everything's blowing up here. So
Yeah, I see 8 people also, but I think sometimes that count lags behind. But I see double D's in here, Billy T, Northeast, Bub, what's going on?
Mark
Mark,
Townsend, Jeff Rivney,
going on.
Rex. Yeah, it did the same thing on Rex's vid last night too. There was 3 of us in the chat chatting with him, and it said there was only one person. I'm like, no, that's not right. Yeah, that's not right at all.
Yep.
Nick, what's going on, buddy? So what you shooting today?
Well, I brought a couple different setups. I've been playing with high style and clay a lot lately. I got this GZK Xi fork. It's like set up to accept like a frameless tube. You just tie a loop and then attaches at this thing right here. And I'm having a lot of fun with clay and this lately.
I saw GZK did like a little tutorial with that frame, and he was adding oil to the forks. Do you do that?
I tried it. I got some silicone oil and tried it, and I didn't really like it. It kind of felt like it made this one a slip here too much for me, and I didn't find that it added a lot of life to the tubes. So I don't do it anymore, but it might be a good idea for certain frames, like to stop that friction right where it's rubbing against the frame. He
Yeah,
puts on a lot of tube shooters.
yeah. I saw that video, and I was kind of like, man, oil kind of degrades the rubber. So I was wondering what kind of oil he was using. Like he didn't mention it in the video. He's like, I just put oil. I'm like, whoa, whoa, you know, that
It's
doesn't make sense. I'm about to go grab my olive oil. This isn't gonna work, you know?
yeah, some organic coconut oil.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, in one video somewhere he mentioned he uses silicon oil.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. I tried a little bit and so far, but I will say as far as like tube longevity, for some reason this one here they last a lot longer than any other tube shooter I've used so far. But I've only been doing this for like 2-3 weeks. But
Yeah.
it's something about there's no sharp edges or something, or having like this extra band down here that's actually like sort of adding to the elongation factor a little bit in a way. You know what I mean?
Right. Guaranteed it should, right?
Yeah.
If it's coming down here and you're pulling over the forks, it could give. My only concern was that with that was maybe the oil was essential because when you're pulling it back, for example, one if without the oil, one might slip, but the other one might stay. So you get like an uneven pull. I thought
Yeah.
that's was because I know he mentioned longevity, but I was like, maybe longevity, but to me it makes sense for making sure you have an even draw.
Yeah. Me too. And
Yeah.
I've found like with this frame, I'm getting 400 or 500 shots out of it, and that's more than average, I think. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I know tubes can last longer than flat bands, whatever. But if I can get 400 or 500 shots out of any band set at all, it's like, you know,
Yeah, that's great. You know.
yeah,
I got a little tube shooter after watching Rex's video yesterday, shooting high style. I made a couple of tube sets, and I decided to come out here last night and give it a try. I shot my thumb 3 times. which was cool. But it oddly enough didn't hurt that much. But I
Yeah.
took his tip on putting these little sleeve things on there, and I think I was possibly having the same problem that Rex was having with my setup. As I was shooting, and they'd come back all tangled.
Yeah.
Look at this mountain goat. Look at this.
Nice.
He's still a puppy, but I mean, hey, come here, Benny. Come on down, buddy. Come on, come on down. Let's go. See, you're shaking. You're up there, and you're like, oh crap, this is the wrong idea. Come on down. Come on down. There you go. There you go. Okay, buddy.
Sunday morning cup, mountain goat. There we go.
Yeah. Sorry about that, man.
No problem, dude. Don't even bother.
He's just a puppy.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I I was shooting at that catch box in the back there. You'll see I got a big target down at the bottom there. It's an 8 centimeter flipper, and I'm gonna have a go with it today. We'll see how it goes live on camera, and I'll probably stink it up. But question for any of you guys shooting the high style pouches: do you put the smooth size in or out?
I don't. If you ask me, I haven't played with those a lot. What I'm using is also a GZK product. It actually is a pit pouch, but it only has one pit
Okay.
instead of two. And I also found that I like the one that's rated for 8 millimeter, even though I'm using 9.5 millimeter. Like having that extra small pouch that can't get in the way, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like I feel, for me personally, I'm not experienced with high big time or anything, but like if the pouch is too wide and it starts getting like distorted by your fingers, to me that messes up the shot. So I like an extra thin, like something that's supposed to be for 8 millimeter works better for 9.5 for me.
Yeah. D's here. He's saying here he uses a pit pouch for it. I'm not entirely sure if I'm gonna keep going with these. I find I thought they were supposed to be like a little extra firm, so when you're pulling back, that they would not like kind of fold. But like when I'm pulling on these, they do fold on me, and that slippy side sometimes. What I ended up doing was I just ended up flipping the pouch inside out and tried a couple of shots that way, and I had a lot less slip offs with the ammo while I was releasing,
Yep.
and my whole whack in my thumb went away. So that was a win.
Always
Yeah.
good not to
Yeah.
smash. But I was gonna, while we're talking about it, I wanted to share something that's worked for me. It may be different for anybody else, but like when I first started trying high style,
Yep.
like, I was trying to pinch the ball just on the sides, kind of like because a short draw, they say to pinch only the top and bottom of the ball or whatever.
Yep.
So that right there was messing me up, getting flyers and fork hits and everything. I found that I do better if I touch my fingers together in front of the ball, even though that's counterintuitive because in regular shooting, that would make you make a speed bump. But for me,
Yep.
like having the fingers pinched completely touching each other, that's seemed to eliminate like 80-90% of those flyers and fork hits and all that.
And you know what? I agree with you 100% on that. I was playing with that a little bit too, and I had found that when I'm focusing solely on gripping the ball, that's when everything changed. If I you have to think about the pouch instead of actually like a pouch, it's kind of like a basket or a strap, and just kind of like use the ball solely and just let it rip that way, and it made a good difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I think when I watch Andy Lowe shoot, obviously he's the master of it, but he
no
he ha-
joke.
he appears to have his finger pointed this way. See how like his pointer finger is perpendicular to his thumb,
Yep.
but that does not work for me for whatever reason. I like mine like let's see, they look like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for some people, apparently you can do it that way. But you just have to find out what works for you. It probably depends on what pouch you use and what. wrist position you have, everything.
Yeah, I'm not a real big fan of the high pouches at all, though. I mean, I know they're small and they're designed to do what they do, but or they're designed for what they do. But that real slippy side, like it's so slippy, and I'm sure that was what was causing my ammo to slip off the pouch when I was trying to release it. Even sometimes with my fingers on the ball, like if it started to pull off one side, the pouch would just slip sideways, and then the ammo would go flying. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah, probably using the fuzzy side might help that a little bit. I don't know, but like I said, I tried real quickly all of them. I didn't spend a long time, but the first one that started working was this one that actually has a single pit in the center. But I wish they had these at Omega because I'm an Omega guy. But GZK has some cool stuff. So,
Yeah, and you know what? I'll say this about GZK too. He's his shipping and everything, like he's got a good service. And a lot of times because I don't really buy from him all that much. I mean, I did earlier on when I first started out. I stopped buying from him because every time they would ship to me. I would end up getting nailed with custom charges.
yeah.
Oh man, I tried to flip it around, but it doesn't want to seem to work. Maybe
So
I'll try. Maybe I'll try my other set and see. But
one thing I will say that Omega has over GZK is at Omega you only have to spend like $35 to get free shipping. Meanwhile, GZK you got to spend like $80. So if you just need a couple pouches or something, you're like, I might as well buy a new frame because I want free shipping.
yeah, yeah, $80 is tough. But I
Yeah,
mean, back in the day when I was shooting GZK all the time, it wasn't so bad because I would I would place my order and I would make them only once in a while. So I'd buy like 20 pouches, a slingshot with a crap ton of elastic. So at that point, it was like, oh well, you know, $80 came quick, and
yeah.
yeah,
It,
here we are. Let's go. But
it's kind of a good strategy because you're like, well, I better not. If I even am thinking about buying something, just go ahead and buy it because if you decide later you want it, now you got to spend another $80 to get it.
yeah, another $80, or but even still, like for me, it was like $80 plus the plus the another $20 or $30 they would get me for import charges. So I was like, man, this is becoming really expensive. You know,
Yeah.
I ended up calling it. So every now and then, if I know I want to get like a bunch of things, and for the most part, the are you picking up a lot of wind noise here?
I'm not hearing it, but I'm close to a road, so you probably might be hearing my road noise. Maybe
No,
I
no,
don't.
no, because the wind has really picked up here. I got a really bad storm coming today, so I was just wanted to make sure that I wasn't you know destroying everybody with wind noise.
Well, now that you mention it, and I was listening for it, I did hear it a bit, but I can hear you talk perfectly clear on
Oh,
my end.
okay,
Then, but
okay.
I'm clear as day.
Yeah, but like I was saying about the GZK stuff, I ended up making lots of or even now like they have those those targets, the pheasant heads on the springs there.
Yep.
Those are the ones I buy from them on the most for the most part, and I really like those targets. But just to buy them from there, and just for that, it isn't enough. And like you, I'm an Omega guy, so most of my most of my stuff comes from Omega slings, and all my elastic is Omega slings,
Yeah.
except for this elastic right here. This is a GZK product, but I surprisingly found it on Amazon of all places,
Yeah.
which is wacky. I didn't even know we had an Amazon store, but
Yeah. He sells like maybe little less than half of his products also on Amazon. But if you order something, then you had to pay big time shipping
yeah.
from Amazon. But it kind of.
Wow.
But
I'm a Prime guy, so I pay my $7 a month or whatever it is, and I get my free shipping, and it's totally worth it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found for like I have some of those GZK tubes and they work good, but Omega's natural 1632s is if you feel like playing with clay. I can shoot 9.5 steel with these. They're just kind of slow, but for clay, and I just ordered some 1636s for steel. I don't know. For me, I don't feel like I want blazing fast speeds for high style, especially just learning.
That's what these were here. These are Omega. I just ordered these, and then they announced the naturals were coming out. So I was like, ah, yeah. Oh well.
Yeah,
I was
well,
late to the party, I guess. Yeah.
only another $35.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll make it happen if I can end up getting this thing working. We'll see. These ones I've got a. I took Rex's advice. I got a sleeve on there of 2040 with a 1636 tube in there. We'll see how it goes today.
Yep. Now, with that, have you shot this setup you're shooting today yet at all?
I shot it with these bands yesterday, last night,
Okay.
and I was able to actually get it into the catch box. But I didn't have a target up because I I have the little blue one up on top there. I busted it yesterday, and I was fixing it up this morning. So I got the blue one on top, and I got the big one on the bottom. And anyway, we're gonna take some shots at the big one. I'm not gonna warm up with the high style. I don't think. I think I'm going to start off with my Beagle or my HGH, just to get a couple of reps if the wind will let me. If not, I'll have no choice. It'll be high style and nothing else. But we'll see. Yeah.
Well, it's you don't have to worry about shooting how you shoot because I just started with this. I'm getting okay with it now. I'm starting to get there, but I'm no I'm no sniper with high style. That's for sure.
Oh, I really couldn't care less if I suck. It doesn't bother me at all. It's all part of the learning process, you know? Yeah. That's why I posted things like me shooting myself in the face and the band snapping hitting me in the eye. You know,
Yeah.
that's all part of it.
I wanted to talk to you about that a little bit too, about the face hits that you got there when you were trying thumb down whenever that happened, right?
Yeah. I actually started off thumb down, trying it out, and I kept hitting myself in the face. I spoke to Shane MacArthur over at Island Made Catapults, and he had told me because at that time I was trying to shoot like 3/4, and he told me instead of putting your thumb down, because I don't know if I don't have the flexibility or something, but every time I do that I speed bump and I end up coming close to the fork or I hit my face. So he told me hold it 3/4. You can pull it back, and then when you have your wrist kind of like this, I guess, just speed bump it a tiny little bit, and it'll go right around the forks, not a problem. And I started doing that, and it was no problem.
Yeah.
So um, the only thing was I found I was a little bit inconsistent with it. And I had a hard time with accuracy. So then I switched to a thumb up hold, stretching out straight out like this, and I was able to get a good tee going. And I have a couple of videos of me shooting like this, and I did pretty well with it. But then I heard a lot of people talking about, the more accurate shooters shoot thumb down and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, what's really the difference then? Refining a grip like this or refining a grip like this? I don't really know. But I mean, I see you doing it. I see Chuck and Steele doing it, and Mikey and a lot of great shooters, Rex, all shooting thumb down. I said, okay, I got to give this another try. And first 3 shots hit my face. One of them made me bleed. And then I was kind of like, you know what? Thumb up. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, man. It's really, I don't think one is inherently more accurate than the other. It's about which one works, which one's comfortable. Like the very first time I tried thumb up with long draw, it hurt my wrist so much that I'm like, I can't even practice this because it hurts my wrist or whatever. So I tried thumb down, and I'm like, oh, this is so much more comfortable.
When you were doing thumb up though, were you pulling like far back like this, kind of?
I
Yeah.
tried to, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I did a reverse grip. I put the ball on the other side and I just stretch my hands out straight and I have like a very natural straight feeling wrist. And that's why that's why I went away with holding it with the sideways grip. Only because I started having a lot of pull on my wrist and it was causing me a little bit of an issue. So I said, okay, I'm gonna either try it thumb down where I can pull different. And anyway, it was just disastrous for me. I'm trying to figure out the mechanics of it. Like I'm thinking maybe it's a posture problem, and that's why I'm not getting the proper flexibility to hold the pouch proper. I don't know yet.
Yeah. Well, I'll show you a little bit of what I'm thinking. It may or may not work, and it don't matter if you want to try it or not. But I'll show you what I think could be going on with what you're doing. Now, I think you're kind of shooting thumb down with your thumb in line with the pouch, like that, something like that. Maybe when you try thumb down.
I started like that in the beginning, and then I started to cock the pouch a little bit to keep it in a straight line from the band and along the stretch. So when I'm actually holding thumb down, the pouch was actually coming out this way, like towards me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
But that actually got off of one of your lives because you guys were talking about that. I think it was you and
Ethan.
Ethan. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you and Ethan.
So,
I'm paying attention, man.
yeah.
Yeah,
Look at me teaching ATO something. I never thought this would happen. Well, but so I was gonna say, like, to me, whatever direction the ball is going that you don't want it to go, that means there's too much finger coming from the opposite side. Okay, so
okay, makes sense.
always, wherever your shot, if your shot's going in your face, that to me means whatever bottom finger you're using, you're bending around the bottom finger. Don't matter if it's this bottom finger or this bottom fingers. That is sending it upwards or maybe towards you, but more like upwards.
Yeah,
So like if if I'm pulling like this means like my thumb is in line with the. I don't shoot like that, but if I go like your wrist has the natural like tendency to go like that a little bit,
yeah,
that will in that position for me that will send it up into my face. Okay. If if I have it at 3/4 butterfly and I have my fingers more perpendicular to the pouch, then I can speed bump it either way, but it's less has a less tendency to do it one way all the time. So like if I go like this a little bit, which I've done, that'll hit my bottom fork almost every time.
yeah,
If I go like this too much, that'll hit me in the face or my top fork if it makes it past my face. Now that's 3/4 or half, whatever. But when I shoot full butterfly, I have to get in screen here. Like you said, I have it like facing the opposite direction of my fingers, like really extreme coming out the full the band, like
yeah. I didn't go that far with it. I think I probably could have gone more. So if I'm pinching my fingers like this and pushing it backwards, yeah. Actually, thinking about it now, maybe it's like a reverse grip of what I've been doing already with the thumb up, and just do a thumb down in the same version of it. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I see
and
what you mean.
yeah, like that's one thing. And then another thing, like if I'm at full butterfly and I have it like this, the same speed bump thing applies. If I go like this a little bit,
Yeah,
now I'm gonna send it up into my face. If I go like this too much, that'll hit my bottom fork. So I'm on constantly like feeling for even pressure. Like I'll come back here and I'll rock it until I feel even pressure on both sides of the pouch. And one more thing, like uh, when I either have a relaxed wrist where I let the bands pull my wrist all the way flexed, or I have it all the way back down. But this in between, really, like if I have my wrist completely relaxed, when I let go, my wrist just looks like that. I'll show you again. Like no movement, like just like
okay.
that. And then also I could shoot like my wrist kind of like all the way flexed, and again like that. But if I have my wrist under tension, like way there, when I release, my wrist goes like this, right
Yeah,
above. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
That flicking, that halfway tension will throw my shots way to the right or way wild. It's like I want to have a locked wrist either direction, either all the way flex this way or all the way that way. But the half-cease thing, then that goes like that, no good for me.
No good, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes total sense.
yeah. And then besides that, so if I choose a relaxed wrist, then I'm careful not if like usually the speed bump will start creeping up on me. Like if my shots start going higher and higher, I'll be realizing that I'm just tweaking that a little bit this way. And if my shots start going lower and lower, that means I'm just starting to tweak it a little bit that way. So I gotta like constantly catch myself, you know.
It releases everything, eh? No matter what style you're shooting.
Oh yeah,
But man, release is like a huge. It's like 90% of your shot. You
yeah,
know?
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean alignment for me, like alignment and posture, that will throw my shot a little bit, but a speed bump will throw it wild. That if that's how I know, like if I'm getting random wild shots all over the place, that's release.
Yeah.
If I'm consistently missing left, right, or whatever, that's a posture, alignment, head tilt issue,
Yeah.
usually.
And that can get pretty dicey. Like even like that halfway thing you were talking about, or when you start speed bumping your shots, you're going from wild shots to dangerous shots. It's right in there.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much I think how most people end up getting hand hits or fork hits or all that stuff.
Oh yeah. Now, one more thing I was just gonna say while I'm ranting here, like if you're shooting more like with your thumb like facing your face like this,
Yeah.
then you can tweak that out a little bit, and all it will do is like a pickle fork. It'll just throw it out over the forks. It won't hit you.
Yeah.
in the face.
That's what I was doing when I first started out. But that was where I was having a little bit of trouble because I know like guys like Chuck and Steele and a couple of other guys, they don't use their fork tip as their aim point. They kind of like,
Band aim.
yeah, they use the look down the bands, and they kind of got like I don't know, it's like it's guided by God or something. I really don't know how the hell they do it, but I use my fork tip all the time, so I'm aiming down those bands and having a little tweak in the pouch, or even just sometimes just giving it a little twist was enough to get it around the edge. But my reference point now, I have to shoot like right off the side of my finger. Like it's quite a bit over to actually hit that all the time. And
Yeah.
in the last video that I did shooting long draw, I was shooting a frame that Lone Star Catapults made me. And actually, I'll get to that in a second. But I was watching your video yesterday of you shooting your Spitfire. That one that's more like a salad bowl there. It's so huge on the inside.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, you know what? Maybe that's my issue because I was thinking, do you shoot off your fork tip or like off of where the band's attached to the fork? Like, what's your?
I'm more of a band aimer than a fork tip aimer for sure.
But it's off your bands, right, from where they attach to the fork, kind of.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm thinking that I might be a guy like you who needs a wider fork because every time I'm shooting way high with all my other frames on long draw. So I have a couple of other larger frames. They're on the 95 mark, and I think one of the ones that I shot the best was my Axiom Ocularis, and that thing's just a gigantic from the outsides. So I'm actually thinking about giving that one another try again in the long draw, and it's got plenty of fork there to kind of protect me a little bit, and I might go back to that one and try it out because that might be part of my issue too. I
Yep.
shoot a little bit high all the time, and I'm constantly adjusting. So instead of actually getting on target, I have to aim way down here. And who knows at what point I could be moving around or wagging around a little bit, and that could be me shooting left. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to make a video on like all the things that I have found that make my shot go in each direction, but it's so much. There's like 5+ things that I've picked up to go over, so I may have to break it up into multiple videos or something like that. But
Totally do that, man. What
there,
what you could do if I can give you, if you don't mind me giving you a tip on it,
oh, yeah,
but I would put them out in segments first, save them up, talk about like what you've done with me today. Talk about like the release for long draws. What could happen, and even show it. I mean, don't shoot yourself in the face to prove it, but show it, and then do a posture video. Maybe start with a posture one first before you get to the release. But start with a posture, do a release, and then whatever else that you feel that's important to the thing, and then do like an ultimate guide, mash it all together in one giant video and let it go.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That'd be a lot easier to do it in small bites rather than trying to do the whole video in one day kind of thing.
Yeah. I just save them, put them aside, and then put them all together at some point, and put out the ultimate guide of all these things in an order where you can. I know that's what I have to do because I'm a little bit ADD. I kind of go off on these tangents sometimes, but I ended up doing my video on like on a whole bunch of things on making bands because I had a lot of people asking me questions. Like it was just crazy, and I was like, okay, look. I did a band on elongation. I did a video on elongation. I did a video on tapers. I did a video on this. I did a video on that. I did a video on how to tie them all together. And then I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna put this together and show people how to tune their bands properly, how to fine tune them to where they want to have them shoot. And there is no correct way. And that's the most important thing I'm trying to get to people's heads. There is no correct way. What shoots great for you may shoot bad for me, and so on. You just have to find out what works for you. But here's the steps to get you there. And then that's when I made that ultimate guide to band tuning video. And I took all the ideas from those, stuck them into one long video, and that was
Yeah,
it. But
that's a great idea. I'll definitely will take that to heart because every time I think about making this video, it's like, man, I need to take a week off work just to get all this stuff I want to say on video. But if I just do it in small chunks and then mash it together, that will be a lot easier. I can won't have to try to remember everything or check my notepad. I still probably have to write things down, but
yeah, oh, that's what I do with every video, eh? Like I think my wife thinks I'm a little bit nuts. Sometimes I'll be like, "Ooh, I got an idea." I, she got me this book for Father's Day this year. It's like the Slingshot notebook. It actually says that on it. I open it up and I started putting my ideas in there and I break it down step by step how I want the video to go. And for certain points where I really want to make sure I'm clear on what I'm trying to say, I write the whole thing out. Exactly how I want it to come out of my mouth, almost like a script. And it's the only way I can really keep myself on track. I find when I'm trying to wing tutorials, I always end up forgetting something, and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to mention this. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm definitely going to take your advice on that. And I'm thinking now, like every day I can go out and just record 10 minutes of one idea and then make sure it's perfect and then store them up and then mash them all together later on. So like,
yeah.
like you said, ultimate guide or whatever.
But it's a great idea to kind of it helps you organize your thoughts, and then you can take it all together at the end, put it together, and pop out a video in like 2 3 months from now, 4 or 5 months from now, and
Yeah.
like boom, here you go. A
Yeah.
complete guide to long draw shooting by the champ, and that's it. Bam, it's up there. That's what I would do. You know,
Yeah.
if I was you, that's what I would do. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. I I don't know. I think that's a good idea. The champ part, I have trouble with that. I don't know if you're serious or not, but like,
Nah, I'm just messing with you. I know you're a humble guy, but
I
yeah.
try. I have a. I'm always worried that there's gonna be people saying like, "Who are you to tell me how to shoot? Like you're not even that good," or something like that. I know that's not true, but there's something inside me that wants to say, "Well, I better make sure I can prove how good I am before I start telling people advice." But I know it's stupid.
Look, I deal with the same thing, man. No joke. I started putting out tutorials, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing, man? I've only been shooting for like a year. I'm really not good. I've never shot in a tournament ever in my life, even to this day. But I found things because I didn't know anybody who shot or anything like this. I had to figure out everything on my own, and it took me a long time. I think I could have figured out. I think I was already shooting a year before I figured out that fork width matters.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
joke, you know. And I was kind of like, man, this kind of sucks. I mean, who am I to be doing any of this? Even today, I'm like, I shouldn't put out this video. Everyone knows about this stuff, but I put them out, and people are like, oh, dude, that video helped me out so much. You would not believe that release video I did. I don't know if you've ever seen it,
I have, yeah.
but I shot a shot with like an 85, then a 90, then a 95, then a 105, I think it was, and there was a 95 in there too. I did a bunch of shooting just to show what the difference a fork width would make, and I was blown away by how many people were like, "Holy shit! Like that's real." I'm like, "Yeah, man, it is real." It took me forever to figure it out, but it's real, you know. And before that point, before I figured out all of this, I was thinking there's good slingshots and there's bad slingshots. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
This slingshot sucks. I can't shoot it. It always shoots high for some reason, you know. But yeah,
Yeah, now I forget what I was gonna say. Yeah, you never know who knows what.
it should be a dedicated thing. That was also too with that sight picture video I recently did too, because I had found that when I saw a big difference in my shooting was because my view on my sight was kept on flipping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But what I discovered is when I'm always focusing on my fork tip and I hover over a blurry target, all of a sudden my posting hand became way less wobbly. And I was able to focus on my shot. I let it rip, and I was hitting way, way more. And I was like, "Crap!" I remember back in the day when my dad was teaching me how to shoot firearms. This is what we were doing. Why didn't I ever apply it to this? I don't understand. And then I decided to give it a try, and I started focusing on it. And now all of a sudden, I'm beating the hell of a 12 millimeter flipper. And this is just recently, right? Okay, this is like in the last year maybe, where all of a sudden I really noticed that I had much better shooting because I stopped switching back and forth my focus on what I was aiming at. Now, I'm sure that if people focused on the target only and hovered a blurry fork over it, maybe it would make a difference. But I know what I do, and because I could see far and I can't see close, I try to focus the best I can to clear up that fork tip for me, and I made a huge difference in my shooting. Like all of a sudden, instead of and whenever there's an issue, I know it's because of my release.
Yeah.
I know it 100%. You know,
Yeah.
but I put that video out too, and people are freaking out. Like some people, I've had a few people reach out. It's like, dude, that's a game changer for me. I didn't realize that was causing me a problem. And
Right.
anyway, you got a lot to give, man. You have a lot to give. I'm telling you, you should be pumping these things out if you have the time. You know.
Yeah, I definitely do. I just think just talking it'd be way better and easier if I do it in small chunks instead of trying to get it all done one day. When I've always tried to get it all done at one time, and I don't. It's hard to do. So
And it's a crap ton of work too. People don't realize, you know.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. But I was gonna say while we're on the subject of where we focus our eye during aiming or whatever, like for me, I took a page out of Slingshot Sniper TR's book. You know Slingshot Sniper TR.
Oh yeah. Yes.
He's like
Yeah.
Turkish
That's
or
the,
something like that, and
the turkey guy who lives in Germany or something there.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So like what I gathered from him is that he teaches people to like draw out to an imaginary target that like directly in front of you, right at head height, and get this all set in all the same, and then do whatever you need to do to aim where your target is. And I kind of do that most of the time. Once in a while it doesn't work for me and I have to do it more instinctive, like I just draw right to my target or whatever.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, I draw out and I aim at an imaginary target that's right where I like to shoot, and then if it's lower, I'll go like that, or I'll go like that, or whatever. I'll kind of.
I'm a huge advocate for that, 100%. And actually, I have a video coming out soon, as soon as I can shoot it, on how to shoot high and low, and that is the main focus of the whole thing, because I try to envision the body as a T. Now, I'm a short draw shooter, so the elbow comes in, but this should all stay the same as a T, and you should bend at the waist or pivot at the waist to reach your target, keeping your form all the time. Super important.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there's two different ways to go about aiming at something that's not at head height, right, in the perfect alignment with your feet. Like, you can do it kind of instinctively, which I think that Chuck and Steele kind of does that. Like, wherever it's at, he's practiced so much and has such good instincts that he just aims at it and he whatever he needs just to hit it. That's one way, but it takes more time maybe. And then there's Slingshot Sniper TR's style, where you always keep everything in exactly the same position and use your hips to put your target in front of your fork tip. And
Yeah.
I blend both of those styles together depending on the day or whatever, but you know, either way work for a different.
Ah, give me one. Give me 1 second here. Come here, you. That's it. You're in the house. Come
Sorry
on.
guys, totally ignoring the chat, just kind of having a conversation with Mark and forgetting that there's people.
Here. In the house.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm so bad at reading the chat. Tom.
Sorry about that.
I just see Double D says I'm shocked that Eskimos can shoot so good. We're all shocked. I'm shocked that Eskimo can.
Yeah. He was bugging me to go inside the house, and I was kind of ignoring him. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, watch me tear this up." So okay, time to go in. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just one more thing. I don't know. I had like thinking of I read it and Double D's wrote something, and I'm thinking there's a guy who, if I had to guess, if he has a target on the ground or the air, he just aims at it and shoots mostly instinctively. You know what I mean? Like, what I think. These can tell me if that's true for him. But then there's other guys where, like, if it's up in the tree.
Already pivot his body and then just go out and aim. But if he comes back, he's still in the same position. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it could be. It's just it doesn't really matter how you get there as long as you can repeat it, right?
Right.
So if you're here and you got to go up, fine. If you can just look up and aim and you can come back to the proper position, shooting high and low. I was trying to figure out how do I judge it? Because I'm only 10 meters in front of the tree, but the ball is about 20 meters up in the tree. And what I've started doing, it seems to be working for me, is I judge the distance to 10 meters. I set up my shot. I tilt back, and it seems like gravity or the drop doesn't seem to be affected as much. So when I started doing that tilt and leading back and actually judging my distance in a straight line to it, and then just aiming up, it made a huge difference in my accuracy. I went from hitting and missing like a soup can, because that's what I would do. I'd put a soup can on a rope, toss it up into a tree, and then try to shoot 20, 25 meters up or whatever. But when I started aiming just directly to the distance to the tree, and then thinking that my 20-meter shot's actually a 10, I dropped down to a wiffle ball. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. It was a game changer for me. I don't know if I'm making sense. Am I making
Oh,
sense there?
absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it definitely for me because in the past, I watched videos on how to shoot upwards. The distance from your eye to the target is different than the distance from your feet to, straight out that distance, the whole tron. That's why shooting up and down is so complicated. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's where making that T comes in. It comes in handy. That solves a lot of that riddle. You're always informed every time. You know.
Yep.
But
Yep.
some of these guys that are like raising and lowering their arms and their anchors, like, man, that just blows my mind. Like, I don't know how people get by on that. Like,
Yeah. Chucking,
he's
but
the master at it, really.
and he's been doing it for 10 plus years on and off. And also, he may be an alien or a robot. We're not sure.
Yeah, truth. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
But I think the quickest route to it is to have the perfect tee and then use your hips. And uh, I think that's out of all the factors that affect your shot upwards and downwards, your alignment is the biggest reason for missing, and the little bit of gravity effect on it and stuff like that, that makes time. I think that makes really small differences to me personally. But I mean, I'm not an expert at that either. So
No, no.
I just,
I don't think it makes a huge difference either. I think it's more of a for me what I noticed when I was shooting up, I ended up shooting high often. And I was keeping my form. I was pivoting at the hip, but enough. I'm like, I can cut that down now. That's yeah. That can come on down. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like you'll probably if you ever make it to ECST, I imagine you will smoke the woods course, like, because you have a lot of practice at, shooting at different elevations and, different distances and everything like that. That's not so easy for everyone to have a place to practice that. So if
But
you do,
you, I mean, for the shooting the elevations and stuff like that, it would be great if it was just in an open area like what we're in now. But I actually have a lot of trouble in dark. So as the light starts going down, for whatever reason, since I had my eye surgery, my night vision is still pretty good. Like for driving on that, I'm okay. But when I start hitting shadows and stuff, I have a hard time focusing on things, and my depth perception is not the same anymore. So I struggle a little bit. That's why you don't see me shooting out here very much at night. I was actually thinking of putting a little light in the catch box and a little light in here so I can see my fork tip, just enough to shine down, like hang a little I don't know, a little light or flashlight or something on there, just enough so I can see my fork tip. That's not going to cause any glare, and I would be able to shoot out in the dark in winter. So that's we'll see what happens, but I don't know. But that
yeah,
might be a little interesting factor for me. We'll see. We'll see.
yeah. I learned something when we did the woods course at nighttime. Like after the score was over, fun, we'd go out at nighttime and we had flashlights and people were lighting up the target while you shot. And I noticed if I can't see my bands, even if I can see my fork tip, but if I can't see my bands, my shot would miss huge, big time. And it makes me realize I must be making little minor adjustments without even thinking about it. But whenever it's dark and I can't see, I just pure instinct.
Yeah, that
But
becomes that's one of the benefits for short draw shooters. Like for me, I'm always anchoring right on my thumbnail on my cheekbone, and if I'm have my fork that has the same fork length, I should in theory be able to line up like that all the time because I don't really look at my bands that much when I'm shooting. I'm really focusing on my fork tip and what I'm shooting at.
yeah,
And I know that if I start hooking left or hooking right, I'm either having a sloppy release or I start traveling because my face gets numb after a while and I start traveling on my anchor point. So,
yeah, yeah. For me, like, since I'm band aiming, like if I just cant that a little bit, I'll start to see two bands, and I'll immediately fix it so I only see one line. But if it's dark and I can't tell, I may start. I think that's what happens. I'll start canting ever so slightly, and not
yeah,
realize it, and that'll throw it right, left, whatever.
I actually have a frame that I actually have to cant to be able to shoot it straight. It sounds crazy, but as if I'm shooting straight on with the bands stacked perfectly on top of each other, if I shoot like this, my shot will always go hard to the left. Every single shot. But as soon as I canted it, just like I moved the fork tip maybe 1/8 from the top, or like say 3/16
Yep,
to the left, solved
yep,
all the problems. It started shooting straight down the pipe every time.
yep,
That's also another video I have coming in the books. Just the difference of canting your fork, because I know when I start getting lazy shooting, I tend to start um, not stacking my forks properly, and that's when I start shooting to the left.
yep. Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to go over in my videos. Is like, to me, it's like every single joint or pivot point in your body is a variable that needs to be controlled. So, like, you know, and pull back, and every one of those things will have. one degree or another. And the same thing with my elbow, my shoulder joint, my neck. Any pivot point in your whole body is a variable that needs to be
Yeah.
controlled.
That muscle memory is a bitch, eh?
Yeah, especially
It really is.
from the chest up, every single joint. You know what I mean? It's even
Yeah.
my back. I was saying my backhand. Any difference in my wrist position is going to affect my shot big time too. So
That's why I'm so scared of long draw. That's why I'm so scared. Yeah.
you
It's
know what?
terrifying.
Another one last thing. We could do a little shooting here or whatever, but I wanted to show you one more thing. I like these rubber balls for ammo for
Yeah.
practice anything sketchy whatsoever. I can send you a link on Amazon. They're like, you can find them all over Amazon or whatever. These are actually like 10 millimeter.
Shooting, I was only shooting .45 Omega slings. I think it was green I was using. But I may have had the bands tuned not powerful enough.
That
I
was
think
me. That was me talking about that.
yeah,
So
I think it was you. I think it was you. I think that was the mistake I made, and that's why I didn't have enough zip on my bands, and that's why I hit myself. But I don't know. It's something I gotta.
for me, the reason the draw weight matters to me is that when I'm shooting with my wrist all the way flexed, I kind of rely on the pull of the band to lock my wrist out. If the bands are too light, then I'll start getting into that halvesies wrist position because it's so
Yeah.
light, I won't even notice it or whatever. But I mean, I can do it. It's just not as, you know what I mean. But either way, it's just lots. But this stuff, for one, it's actually more consistent round than clay is because it's molded. Right, thing, but it's so safe that like if you hit yourself in the face, it will barely leave a mark. For me, anyways, you know what I mean. It's just if I'm doing anything sketchy, I try and make sure I get past my face and my forks with the rubber ammo. But
I would imagine they've probably got a little bit more weight to them than a clay too, so it feels more like a steel ammo. Maybe.
they're I don't know. They're about the same weight as clay, but I don't know. There's this thing for me where if I'm a little bit scared of what I'm doing, I can't do it well, anyways. Where this allows me to relax and know everything's going to be fine no matter what happens. It'll be fine. I'm not even going to be, hurting at all from it. And
But
it's
do you mostly shoot clay or are you
I
steel?
used to. I,
Yeah.
the reason my channel name is Slingin Clay because I spent about 6 months with clay
Oh,
because I'm still getting fork hits and I didn't want to be smashing my frames. But
yeah.
then, like, I talked to Chuckin about what my problem was, and they were kind of like peer pressuring me a little bit. It'll be fine to shoot steel. And then once I started, I could never look back other than fun plinking.
Yeah. The uh the um the accuracy difference though for me in between clay and steel. Wow. Like holy smokes. I spent almost a good week trying to figure out what the hell I was doing wrong because I was just missing all over the place. And I never really thought to consider that the problem was the ammo. I thought for sure it was something I was doing. It was earlier on, and I spent a good couple of weeks trying to figure it out. And I was shooting at. I had like a post stuck in the snow with a can on it, and I was shooting the clay at that from across the yard. And I was figuring, wintertime, better to shoot the can with clays, no ricochets, not going to hit my house, all this stuff, and I can just let it go in the ground. It's going to disappear into nothing by the time spring hits anyway. So who cares? Started shooting and I'm like missing the can, I'm missing the can, I'm missing the can. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I said, these damn Sumki bands, they're shit. And I threw the thing into the snow and went and got another frame and I tried another one. I couldn't hit those either, and I was trying to figure it out. And sure enough, I ended up one day, I'm looking at my palm of my hand and I'm looking at these ammos, and I have one that's 7 millimeter and one that's 11. And they were all different sizes, all different shapes. None of them were really round. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go back upstairs. I'm gonna grab some 8 millimeter steel and let's see what the difference is. And it was like plink, 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 plink. I don't think I missed that thing in like 50 shots. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
garbage. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, like, one, the brand of clay kind of matters a little bit, but all brands are going to be inconsistent. So, like, couple things. For one, I found clay to be accurate, but only out to like 7 meters or something like that. As accurate as steel, like close to being like I could still hit really small stuff with clay as long as I'm only like 7 meters instead of 10 meters. Like
Yeah.
just around 10 meters is when they'll start to really curve and do stuff or whatever. But clay is great if you're getting fork hits a lot, you're not destroying your frames, and it feels a little safer. So like you can try new things and not worry so much. But rubber ammo also will do the same thing. But like as far as accuracy at 10 meters, oh, there's no contest whatsoever. There's
Yeah.
not even
Not even close. Yeah.
no.
Yeah. It almost looks like a bowling ball shot. You know how when these guys throw the bowling ball, it goes down the lane and just hooks at the end? I was getting a lot of weird shots like that. I'm like, okay, this has got to be the ammo. This doesn't make no sense. You know? Yeah.
I don't use clay to practice accuracy. I use it to make sure everything's going well before I shoot steel. That's my and fun plinking, the freedom of just shooting it anywhere, anytime, not worrying about it. Those are the two reasons I still
Yeah.
shoot sometimes.
In the yard now, I only shoot clay really when I'm shooting at my battle tree thing there. You know, where it's got that little flipper that flips back and forth. I shoot that at that because I know if I shoot that with steel, it's going to be toast in no time. I'll finish it off, and the ricochets will be pretty bad. So so I said, okay, I'll get those. I'll only shoot clay at them, and I do shoot those from time to time. And I got my Texas Star too, which is a lot of fun. It's a blast to shoot that thing with clays. But when it comes to anything else, any of my catch boxes or anything like that, no way. Yeah,
Oh yeah, for sure. Me too. It's like whenever you're shooting clay and you're new, you can't tell if you missed because it was your fault or the clay's fault, right? So it's not great for honing accuracy.
no.
Well,
And anybody starting out too, it's a in my opinion, it's a bad way to start. I know it's kind of safe. It's safer for people starting out, especially people who shoot TTF. It's much safer. I know my second frame I ever owned was a GZK Hammer Pro, and it was TTF. I had no idea what the difference was. I just thought it looked really cool, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna buy that one. I got that thing in there, and I destroyed 3 handles in it within 2 months. And I kept on bouncing the shot in between the webbing of my hand and the handle. And I had one rosewood handle, which I completely took a giant chunk out of it. And then I got one of those, I guess I can't remember what kind of wood it was, like a dark black wood. Bounced a couple of shots off of there, and one of them split so bad. I took about, I don't know if you know what a toonie is, but we have these big ass stupid coins we call toonies up here in Canada. They're worth $2, but they're about 3 times the size of a quarter.
okay.
So in terms of change, they're pretty much a frisbee. And I took a chunk off of that off of that off that handle, and I was like, you know what? I can't shoot TTF. We'll put this away. And number two, I'm not shooting this with steel anymore because I got really lucky not hitting my hand with those. Could you imagine? You know, pinching the webbing of your hand, it would have gone right through. It would have just
Yeah.
I would have been on a trip to the hospital getting stitches. It would have been terrible. So
And
I took the break from that.
that spot would take forever to heal because you're constantly moving like that. It would take 3 times as long as normal to heal too.
Yeah. And I used my hands for my job. I was a machine operator at the time, so that would have been disastrous for me.
Right. Yeah. Well, anyways, you want to do a little plinking here? I
Yeah,
got.
we'll do a little plinking. I'm about ready to embarrass myself, so let's do it.
Okay, sounds good. I
Yeah.
got I got a new little setup here. I got some cans set on a board here, and that is a way to put my spin trap up at a higher position too. So we can play
Oh,
around.
that's really cool. What do you got in behind you there? Is that like another property back there, or you got a whole bunch of woods there?
That's woods, but there's a gully and a stream right back down there. So as soon as you get past that wood line, it drops down into a little stream, like a real tiny small stream, but
Oh no, you're not fishing in that thing or anything, eh?
nah,
No.
not deep enough. But
We have I have a right behind my property here. I got a little stream that goes through. It's about 12 feet wide and about two or 3 feet deep. And there are some catfish in there, but I've never fished with them. I saw a big crane come up with one time and just like gulp it down and took off. I'm like, no way, there's fish back there. But there's also a shit ton of ticks, so I don't go there. Yeah. Nope.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So I'm going to be shooting this mess. This is the PFX2 from Prime 4 Catapults. We've got some, we got a high setup on there. And I'm probably going to shoot like I'm high. It's going to be pretty bad, but who cares? I got a big target down there, so it's going to make me look pretty good. And I hope you guys will hit that thumbs up button for us, because I think we got a good show going on here today. Even though we've been kind of neglecting you down there a little.
No, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm my Xi fork here, but this is Omega natural tubes here, 1632. And I'm trying out this Walmart clay for the first time. I've never used this stuff, so I'm going to play around.
I was going to mention this because Dee's, who was it? There was Dee's, Rick, and Rex. Swear for this stuff. They say it's great. Apparently, it's really good.
At a glance, it's very consistently round. Like, I'm pretty surprised that Walmart has such a looking product, but
it looks way better than that trash from Amazon, though, because that stuff from Amazon is just horrible.
The brand that I always went with from Amazon is called Timboka. I can send you a link if you want, if ever. But like, out of all the ones that I've tried, Timboka makes the most consistent on Amazon. But I think this stuff is just as good, if not better.
I think what I might do is I'm gonna shop around online, see if we can get that in Canada. The last time I checked, we couldn't. But I'll see if I can find some, or even just check Walmart.com in the U.S. and see if they'll ship it here. And I'll just buy like a giant order of it. And having a more consistent ammo for shooting my little plinkers down there, it'll be much better. I think it'll be more fun.
Oh yeah.
Let's get to it. All right, we don't want any 3/8 in there. We'll get rid of those. Wow. All right, guys. You know that user guy? Let's just if we get any more stupid comments from that clown or anybody else in that kind of way, just don't hide the thing. Just ditch him, toss him out, make fun of his mom first, and get him out of here. I don't want any of that trash in here. There we go. Yeah, see, this one's twisting up a little bit on me. Oh, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it right now. There we go. Told you. I'm still getting some twisting in the bands a little bit, but it definitely feels better. I feel more confident with the rough side in.
Yep.
Yeah, just shot my thumb. Yep.
My first impressions is that this Walmart clay is a little more accurate than what I've been shooting.
Yeah, you find it better?
I do. Yeah. It seems like, 25% less flyers so far. I mean, I started with it. And also, you can track it so much easier than the brown stuff or black stuff. Like, that being white, I could track it so easy.
Yeah, I think Dees was calling them tracer rounds. You could see them really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole reloading thing is kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, I'll show you what.
To basically drop the bands in there and just slide it into position when you're getting ready to let it rip.
Yeah.
But I find I get too much of my finger in there, so I'm trying to make it get down more close to the end so I can grab it like this. Just get a little pinch, have my fingers touch.
Yeah.
I find I get much straighter shot with that.
Yeah, I have mine like towards the tip, like about right there, right at that knuckle. That's about where I have it sitting. I have it sit right about there, and then it's hard to show, but like instantly, it's just if I have it too far back there, it doesn't work good for me. I like
Yeah,
it right there.
that's the same issue I was having too. If I end up grabbing it like this far over, forget it. I'm hooking way left, almost missing the catch box. It's great. It's crazy.
That's that's the one thing I found with high style. You are likely to speed bump it sideways this way rather than you can't speed bump it this way, but
Yeah,
you can do the same thing if you've got too much thumb or too much pointer finger. So
yeah, something to work out.
yeah, and then same thing, same rule applies. It goes the opposite direction of the finger that you're applying too much pressure to. So if it's going out and to the right, that's too much thumb. If it's going to the left or towards your face, that's too much pointer finger.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm doing because I'm getting a little scuff on my cheek too. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Try to work that out. Ow. Oh, we're getting some hits now, at least though. That's an improvement.
Yeah.
More thumb is the key. There's a joke in there somewhere. But more, more thumb is the key. Thanks for that, Andy. I'm just saying that might wind up on a shirt. I hope you don't mind.
No, no, go for it. Reminds me of Forrest Gump, where he just says stupid things and people make money off of his quote.
Oh, that's a little guy up front. I wasn't even aiming for him, but that's good.
Go set up some my cans again.
Couple of lilies there, and I've got a hibiscus over here that we almost killed, but I brought it back, so that's pretty good. we weren't expecting it to take so much water. It got really hot here, like 40 degrees, and it dried it right out. So I got a lot of yellows on there, but we got her fixed. Looks pretty good now. Hey, take care, Deez. Thanks for stopping in, buddy.
Later,
Keep those
Deez.
videos coming, buddy. Your channel's great.
I gotta say, there's something satisfying about knocking a bunch of cans down. I mean, don't get me wrong, like cutting a can is awesome. Everyone loves to cut a can, but it's a different kind of fun knocking cans flying, you know. I
Yeah,
really
when you can line them up and take them down, 5 or 6 of them in a row.
and they go
Yeah.
flying off. It's something fun extra to do, you know. And can walking is super fun and all that stuff.
Me and my dad and my uncle, we used to go down to Vermont, and there was a shooting range down there we used to go and shoot at all the time. And we'd come into Vermont, we'd set them up with our 22s, and that was like the big highlight of the thing, because everyone would be out there shooting their fancy shit, and everyone's freaking out, and I'm like, no, let's go down, let's get the cans. And they had these posts set up, and we used to put like a regular soda can on it, but if you hit the bottom of the soda can with a 22, it'd flip up in the air. And the game is how many times you can actually keep that thing in the air by hitting the bottom of the can. So you're shooting one, and then you have a moving target that you have to keep on shooting at. I ended up hitting it 14 times in a row before it hit the ground, and everyone was like, "What the hell?" And I was only like 12, you know. But it was something. It was something that we practiced all the time. My dad, myself, and my uncle, the three of us, would start shooting these cans. People were freaking out, and every time you hit it, it's going higher and it's going farther, and you have to catch it on the drop. If you hit it in the middle, it just keeps going. So it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun doing those kind of can shooting. It's a blast, even with these.
Yeah,
Even with these.
it
Yeah.
is. The only thing that sucks is having to go and set up your cans over and over again, but kind of like I think it's good practice to like go somewhere, get to your spot and line up your feet and everything first try, and then instead of standing in the same spot the whole time and having like you're in the groove, it's a lot, you know.
Actually, I got a good question for you. And that's probably something that nobody really talks about all the time. Is when you're lining up a shot, me, for example, I'll set it up. So I'm kind of like, if my target's going this way, I set it up with a 90 degrees, and I try to put the target in line with 6 inches in front of my feet.
Okay.
How do you set it up?
Well, I tend to make my zero position more like in line with the back of my feet, like my heels, which is probably not proper, but maybe I don't know if I just learned it to do it that way or whatever, or if it has something to do with my low reference point or whatever. But if I set up my target, like you said, like in front of my feet in a line, I'll shoot to the right unless I force myself to adjust. Like my natural instinct would be to shoot like, pull back a little bit when I'm shooting, then I'll be a little more on target naturally. But if I'm a little bit too far, then I'll start missing left. So it seems to me like, you know, my target is more this way, then my shot will go more that way. If the target's more this way, I'll miss that direction.
Oh wow! I was always setting it up just a little bit in front of my feet. Like, I mean, it could be right at my feet. That's not a problem either. But I found when I go backwards a little bit, it used to cause me a little bit of trouble. Like you'll see sometimes I'll be shooting on the catch box. I'll be shooting at the catch box over there, and I can hit one 40 mil flipper consistently. But when I go back to the one that's closer to me, I end up missing like crazy. I don't know what the deal was, but
Well,
I
I'm
think it's shooter
sure
specific. To be honest, I really do. I think it comes down to the shooter where they like to set them up. But
it's like once you establish a zero position that's you naturally hit good there, then you use your hips or your feet to put your target in that same orientation to your upper body, is what I find it to be. But there is
Okay, Mark, slow down. And sometimes being able to walk down there, fix the target, come back, is that enough time for you to kind of reset
Yep.
and break up the advancing speed of your shots. You know?
Exactly. I think so. For one, in a hunting situation, you're not going to have time to get in the groove from a certain position. You have to shoot from wherever you're at, right? So that's one practice for that. In a tournament, you step up to those knockdowns, you don't have time to warm up in that spot. You have to hit them right away,
Yeah.
right? And
Pressure's on. Yeah.
right, right. And so there's practice there. And then like walking helps straighten your back out, because what happens to me as I stand in one spot, I'll slowly start
Yeah. I
more
do
and
the same.
more, and I'm like, oh, straighten your back out, hunch over. But walking kind of gets the back loosened up, and I don't know, it's funny. You would think you'd want to just keep your feet locked and but it's actually better to move around a little bit.
Yeah. No, I agreed 100%. 100%.
I'll go set them up.
Yeah. Oop. It's a little bit to the left. It seems to take a little bit of practice to figure out how many shots I can comfortably keep my hand without it causing issues. I
Yeah,
think maybe 10's the way to go. I don't know. 3, 4,
yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
I can't
10.
comment at all. So I ordered a magnet, like a chest magnet, and I figured that might help. But for me, like, just that style of loading shaves off so much time for me, anyways. And then, like, I figure if I practice my accuracy really well, then hitting your can every time will make up for the few extra seconds you shave off from, obviously, if you can palm ammo, that's going to shave more time off your, competition
Yeah.
you're going for. But I can't palm it at all.
But when you guys do the speed shooting thing, it's basically you have to knock down. Was it like you have to knock down a bunch of cans or something in a certain amount of time?
Yeah, they set up 10 cans at 10 meters in a row. They're about, I don't know, a few inches, I don't know, 3, 4 inches in between each can. And the timer starts after you release your first shot. So the first can is kind of a freebie as long as you don't mess that one
Yes.
up.
Yeah.
But as soon as you release your first shot, the 1 minute timer starts and you get progressively more points as you knock down the cans. So, like, the first five, I think, are worth 1 point each, and a few more are worth like 2 points, and the last can is worth 10 points alone. So it really makes it's a huge jump if you can get all
Yeah.
10.
So if you shoot 10 cans in 30 seconds versus 10 cans in 59 seconds, it really makes no difference.
Not in that part of the competition. They have a for fun competition where who can knock down 10 the fastest. So in that,
Okay, that's where the high style guys come in. That's the
right. But it's not for score. It's more, so far, it's more of a fun thing. and bragging rights and all that. But for score, you just need to be able to get them done before 1 minute ends. And no matter how, if it's 20 seconds or 59 seconds, it doesn't matter.
Oh, well, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, even just shooting regular short draw, I could shoot 10 shots in a minute.
Yeah.
Pretty easy. With
Right.
with my regular style, you know?
Right. It's
Yeah.
the only thing is, I mean, definitely, I think some guys did that and can do that, but like it's kind of close. And when you're under pressure, one little
Yeah,
fumble,
that's true.
one piece of ammo, you do anything wrong, you miss one shot, then you're maybe not quite making it. Where if you're regularly getting it in 40 seconds, you have forgiveness for a fumble or two. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that really makes sense. I saw Jordan practicing in his backyard on one of his videos, and he was talking about that a little bit, and I was like, oh man, it seems crazy to practice something like this, when I could probably get, I don't know, I've never really timed myself, but I've got pretty close to 10, 12, 14 shots even in a minute, just shooting regular thing, but just getting it up into position and letting it rip.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good, using 3 or 4 shots in my palm when I'm shooting, which is comfortable enough. And then I can just pull a chunk off the magnet again and go. I don't
Right.
know, but
There's
I'm
one.
definitely far more accurate like that than like this. But I gotta give this guy a little bit more time and see how it goes.
Yeah. There is one more thing to consider too, is that those cans being in a line, by the time you're done, they're spread out over maybe 5, 6 feet of left to right. So,
Yeah.
like we were saying, you have your comfortable position. If you're trying to cut a can or hit a single can target, that's one thing. But to go here, then here, then here, then here, that's a little
Are
bit.
are you not allowed to step up and just
Oh,
kind of follow them, or?
oh, you can pivot, you can step anywhere you want as long as you don't go beyond 10 meters. But then that's an extra second each time you step forward and replant. Then you take a step forward.
Yeah, true.
It's your strategy, whatever you feel most comfortable with. But there is a big difference between hitting a single can and hitting a row of
Oh, for
cans
sure.
out,
Yeah,
6 feet from end to
yeah,
end.
for sure. When you start going wider out, that causes a lot of difference in your shot for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And like Omega sells the can targets in 10 packs for a reason. So you can set up on a string, spread out, and practice for the competition, not have to set them back up again and everything like that. But that's the
Oh
point.
yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yep. I've got some of those can targets coming from the Leighton guys. I won that giveaway there.
Yep.
It's supposed to be coming on the way. It's the one's for Benji. So we'll see how it goes. I might take your idea on that and set up a 10 pack on a string and get to practicing that with this thing. It might be fun.
Also, just so you know, well, the can height is around just above my waist. I'm only 5'8", and the can setting right above my hips. About that, I would say, I don't know, 4 feet. Nah, maybe 3.5 feet, something like that.
Okay.
But there again, like for some shooters especially, the elevation matters big time. What your natural zero position is as far as elevation.
Yeah.
So, if you want to replicate that event, step up about, I don't know, I guess in meters would be a little over 1 meter, something like maybe 1 meter off the ground, and in a
Oh,
row,
okay.
you
That's
know,
that's about what I shoot my catch box at my top target. It's about 1 meter off the ground. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And there's another thing to talk about is the knockdowns are like 1.4 meters, which for a lot of guys is higher than they typically shoot. They set their target off the ground, so that made a big difference for some guys too.
Oh, interesting.
I knew that ahead of time, so I set my catch box right around chest height for me, something around in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it took me a couple days to get like back to my normal accuracy at that elevation, because I was normally shooting my spin trap, which my targets are set like 2 feet off the ground.
Oh, interesting. Also,
So
that new setup you got back there is going to help you out quite a bit with your spin trap inside there, right?
right, I can set my spin trap up on there, and those are actually adjustable table legs, so I can adjust the height in like increments like this to get it to close to exactly
Close
where I
as possible. Yeah. Yeah, because
yeah,
when I'm practicing that height, I have on my barrel back there. I usually take one of my sniper sling catch boxes and I stick it on top, and that's like I guess it's like my chin level, we'll say, and I'm 5'10",
yeah,
so it's not so bad. I put that up there and I'm able to hit it. It's the target's slightly higher than what they call the regulation height,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's
I,
good enough, I think.
I think within a foot of the normal height is gonna probably be fine. But
Yeah.
the more, if you really care, if anyone who really cares, the more you can replicate the exact height and everything, it helps.
Yeah,
Helps
100%.
so that that height, like it becomes your zero or your, no matter what, that's where you're your best. That he events, like some of them. Like I said, I set my spinner heights to out where I thought the knockdowns would be. And I went out in the woods a lot and practiced shooting twigs at every different elevation and distance within 25 yards. I spent more time at exactly 25 yards or 25 meters because there's a paper shoot at that distance.
Woo!
I spent a little more time at that. It's
Oh, you froze up there for a second. Uh,
said I want to only get that feeling from making like perfect was my theory. Like it's like a chemical release in your brain. You get a happy chemical when you hit the target. So let's only allow that when I hit a tiny perfect target. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And I noticed my number going up on like 40 millimeters, 25 millimeters. They went up because I spent so much time on a 9.5 millimeter spinner, basically.
Yeah, in my catch box here, I mean, I got that big monster here because I'm shooting this thing. But normally, I have a 12.5 millimeter, the Wasp, and I have a 25 millimeter, and that's it.
Yep. Yep.
That's as big as they get. And if I go after that Wasp, that little tiny Wasp flipper, and I miss it 20 times, but I hit it 5 times in the end, I don't care. I'm good. And
Right.
now I'm
That's
hitting that thing 6 times out of 10, sometimes 7 out of 10. Uh, it's fine by me. I'll take it.
right.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's
challenging yourself is the only way to get better. So all you guys starting out down there, get rid of those big cans and all that stuff. Start shooting something smaller, and you're going to see your group start shrinking. Just like Andy said, it's definitely the way to do it.
one little thing I would add to that though is it's good to once per day take a few shots at a bigger target because especially if you're a little bit of a gap shooter or something like that, like your brain may think that that big target is your smallest target and you'll aim a little bit differently. If you're
Yeah,
always putting your fork tip right on target, then it shouldn't matter too much, but it's still good to check in and just to make sure that you're not getting lazy. You can still hit that, but I spend the majority of my time on really small targets when I'm
yeah.
trying to get better. And
Me,
then there's
me too. And funny. Sorry to cut you off there,
no,
but it's actually funny when I'm shooting that small target over and over and over again, and I switch to something big. I usually miss my first shot.
yup,
Yep.
yup,
And that's because my brain's kind of like, it's huge. Whoop. I missed. And I have to go. Yeah. Yeah, because you're thinking I can't miss that, and whoop. Yep. Look at that. But yeah, 100%. And you know what the funny thing is, Like I don't know how long you've been watching my channel or how far back you've gone, but I when I started out,
a little high, little low, little left. I have trouble really seeing that. So if you're hitting the left side of the target or reinforcing my left all the time. then when you try to hit something small, you miss to the left of it, right?
Yeah.
So what happens whenever I shoot at a target, and then I can make the tiniest little minute changes I need to make so that it's going exactly where I'm aiming, not just the general vicinity of where I'm aiming. You know what I mean?
And to be clear, those tiny little adjustments you're talking about, we're talking like millimeters.
Yeah.
Like millimeters. Because you have to think, a little adjustment here, for example, this, over 10 meters is this,
Yep.
right?
Yep. For
So,
sure.
yeah,
Yep.
it's pretty interesting.
So yeah, the question originally was what I did to get ready for the tournament. Like, I did not focus on winning at all. I did not have a mission to win or do awesome. I said I will just have fun and prepare myself as best I can for what's to come. But keep reminding myself doesn't the lack of nervousness is what allowed me to do better than a lot of the shooters who are probably more skilled than me. But
You just
I
stay
was
loose. Yeah.
you only get nervous when you believe there's some consequences to missing, right? And
Yeah.
doing or just doing bad in general, right? Like the root cause of the nervousness is these people are going to judge me if I don't do well. But reality, if or at least you can convince yourself that no matter what happens, no one cares. Nobody cares. So there's
No.
no reason to get nervous. And if you miss one shot, whatever, do it again. Miss it, whatever. I'll just take another shot. Like not downward spiral of mental game. Like I was worried about if I missed the first shot. Oh no, this is how this is gonna go. Or the second shot. Uh-oh. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And
Don't do
and if
that.
you get worried about it, that's where everything just goes to crap, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's the worst thing. And I actually, it took a hard lesson for me to understand that too. I went live one time on the Grizzly Catapult team, and we were doing some shooting. And I got up there, and I did 2 practice add-in lives. I'm shooting pretty bad today. I don't really care. I don't care. I'm learning a new skill for one, so that's not an issue. And two, I think all of that stuff, I really couldn't care less. Going to a future tournament, the only thing I'm worried about is just being around so many people. I'm not comfortable around many people. If I could live out in a bush somewhere by myself in a log cabin with nobody ever around except for the people that I love, I would be perfectly happy. But I got to drive into the city every day. I see people there all the time, where I'm trying to work, and it sucks. But
I
it's just an anxiety thing I have. I just don't like being around so many people. You know?
I was worried about the exact same thing, Mark. Like, I'm the same type of guy. I typically do not like crowds at all. And I was worried, what if I get there and this is a bad environment, then I'll never come again or something like that. But you got to remember, these are not regular people. These are slingshot people.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah,
all 99.9% of them are awesome. Like you're gonna have so much fun. I'm telling you, it's not like hanging out with a crowd of just whatever people. They're your people. They're really your kind of.
yeah. Oh, I'm sure that's part of the reason why I want to go so bad. Is just so I can go out and hang out with some of the people I've made good friends with on here. Throw some hugs around, have some fun, shoot, do a little shit talking, and that's the camaraderie part I'm looking for. Whether I kick ass or if I'm the last on the list, I really couldn't care less. I don't think it's really not that important to me.
Yeah,
But
it's the
meeting
best.
some of the people live is like, man, I've had a lot of people come in and out of my life that were like, yeah, they're pretty cool, but then I got really disappointed at some point, by something that's gone on, and the slingshot community has been more solid than people I've met in my real life, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's see if I,
what's the big Kermit, and where can I just came into the chat. I don't think there's a couple of upcoming tournaments. I think they got one in Hocking Hills, and there's another one that hasn't quite been confirmed yet. But I think I think there's one going right now. Where is that one? The AIM one. That's in
Ohio, I believe, but other people would know better than me. I believe it's Ohio.
that's Hocking Hills, right?
Oh, maybe you're right. I don't know. Ethan
Yeah.
will know.
Yeah, Hocking Hills, and there's the AIM one. I think that one's in. Is it Washington State? Maybe. I can't remember.
I don't know. I'm not real up to date on where all the tournaments are because they weren't an option for me to where they were from. Unless they were right in my backyard, so I haven't been paying attention to far.
Yeah, that's quite far, eh? How long would it take you to get to Ohio though, for like Hocking Hills, for example, if you were to go?
Well, if I were to fly, that's one thing. It's probably would still be half a day flying, but driving would probably take me 15 hours, maybe something like that.
Really?
Of drive, I think. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where Hocking Hills is, but it's like a 10-hour drive for me, and you're in Maine, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Southern
Yeah.
Maine.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Because then, like, for me to get to like northern Maine, it's like 5 hours, I guess, to get there. But
Oh,
I
well,
don't.
I didn't look at that, but what I do know is that to get to Western Pennsylvania is about an 11-hour drive for me, 10 to 11 hours.
Oh
Half
wow.
is in Pennsylvania. And then
Yeah.
Ohio, a little bit further. So I'm just guessing I'll add another 5, 6 hours to the trip, something like that.
Yeah, that's far. Yeah.
I flew to Pennsylvania. I can't take driving 10, 11 hours.
Was it expensive to fly there?
Nah, I think it was 250 to $300 for a round trip. I want to say my wife is really takes care,
Wow.
but it wasn't crazy expensive from what I could tell. You know what I mean? I mean, like I said, she's really good about taking care of that stuff for me. But I believe it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 250, 300 for one round trip ticket.
Oh wow. That's not bad at all, actually. That's very doable. And I guess did you rent a car when you were out there, or somebody picked you up?
We were gonna rent a car, but then my dad said I could borrow his car because he doesn't go. He's retired. He doesn't go very far anymore, and he had a spare like a beater car, so he gave me his car. So that
Oh, and
rent.
he was out there anyway.
Yeah, yeah. The
Oh,
turn.
okay, that works out perfect.
It's like it was meant to be. ECST is like an hour and a half drive from my parents' house.
Oh wow.
I did a dual. Like we visited for a few days. I went to the tournament for a few days, and then we visited for 4 days. We only needed a hotel for like.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah,
And you got to visit the family, which works out even better.
yeah, it was awesome. But
Yeah.
I would say renting a car though was maybe even more expensive a week than the airplane ticket. For a few days, maybe not so bad, but to rent a car for the week was going to be like $400 or something like that.
Holy smokes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
but
pricey.
like I don't know. We'll talk about it off camera. We'll see. But like, if you flew into Pittsburgh, I could probably come and pick you up. We'll have to talk about and make sure. But like if you're just going to be hanging out near a hotel about 10, 15 minutes from the tournament, like someone, it maybe me, can give you a ride and you wouldn't have to spend. But if you don't like that, I understand you would spend a few rent, whatever.
Nah, that's the thing is like you're let's say for example, like I fly in, which would probably be the best bet. I fly in, rent a car with all the exchange and everything. I'm looking close, and like my meals and anything else I may or may not need. I'm looking at probably somewhere around 2,000 Canadian. That's a lot for a weekend. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, just to give you an example, like every $60 or every 60 US I buy costs me $100. So that's quite expensive. For like a plane ticket down there would probably cost me around $500. I'm assuming there and back, which is not so bad. That I could do, but to throw on another $500 for a car, and then, man,
Yeah.
but by the time you're done, and it's just that's a very well, not maybe not $2,000. Let's say probably around 1,200, $1,500, but that's a lot for a weekend.
Yeah. So as long as you don't have too much of a trust issue or whatever, I'm almost sure that I could do it. If not, there's gonna be 10 other guys there. They'd be like, I get a chance to take a car ride with Mark from ATO. Hell yeah, I'll come pick you up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when the time comes, I'll just reach out to a few people and see what's going on, and if we could arrange it. If not, I'll probably just drive down myself and call it done.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I'll just take an extra days. It's only $100. I'm like, no, $100 is a lot of money, dude. Like, like, don't get me wrong, I can't do it now, but I would do it in the future. But like, I can't just go and drop $160 plus
Right.
shipping, plus import charges, depending on how you ship it. I'm like, I just can't do that all the time, and that gets pricey, man. And they're like, oh, but you guys look like you're rich over there. I'm not rich. I'm not a rich man by any stretch. I got a mortgage. I got 2 car payments. Like we there's a lot of expenses going out there to drop $100 every couple of weeks on a slingshot, dude. You know?
Yeah. And that way, like 90% of them can collect dust. You shoot them the one time, and then you got 400 other slingshots to shoot. So it's hard to justify.
Yeah. Yeah, I had one guy that got upset with me, and he's like, "Oh, why do you always shoot? You guys are always doing these things. It's just a fork." I'm like, "Well, that's not entirely true because there's a lot of nuances that go on with each style and each shape and how it holds and all. There's a lot of things to it." But I do these other guys like, "Oh yeah, I guess it's all the YouTube money." I'm like, "Bro, how much money do you think I'm making from this? How much money do you think I'm making from this? You know, I most way more than people imagine actually comes out of my own pocket from throwing my pocket change into a bucket and be like, okay, I got like $160 here. Let's see what we can do. Let's get something for the channel to review. And that's what I do. But I don't have people throwing slingshots at me on a 20, on a 24/7. Oh, here, take this, take that. It's free. Don't worry about it. I'll make you a good deal. I'll take $50 off. No, man. That comes out of my pocket. I got to work hard for my money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I know
I,
we look like we have cool houses here and everything like that, but the cost of living is a lot higher in some places.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's like buying one slingshot at $150. It's not that, it's very doable. But when you want to try to get a new one every couple weeks or months, that
Oh man, can you imagine? I was calculating one point, like how much have I spent on slingshot so far, and I was just going through like 10 of them. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop there because this is gonna cost me far more than the divorce. let's just keep it quiet. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, whatever the number is, do not tell your wife what that number.
Truer things have never been said, my friend. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Yeah.
Oh, oh, honey, they give these away for free, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I have gotten a few for free, luckily, which is pretty cool. But man, a lot of those I paid for myself, and they get pretty pricey.
No.
Yeah. YouTube has been pretty good though. I mean, you make a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there from time to time, or every second month type thing. It's pretty good. You can take those things and you can put it towards a big purchase somewhere. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that even the big channels that are making their living off of YouTube, they're still like, they have a store, they have some kind of deal with some other company. They're like, it's not enough all by itself to even make a full living. I think, you know what I mean.
yeah. Or
So
it supplements them to a point where they can buy new equipment and slowly but surely increase their thing. Like that's something I'm kind of working on now. I'm gonna start making a couple of natties here and there and see if I can sell them off. And if I can sell them off and buy a bandsaw, well now I can start making better slingshots and then see where it goes.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I'm not some building ninja or anything like that, so I'm not saying that, but it would be nice to actually have possibly an ATO slingshot or of some kind of brand out there that I can put out for people to have my logo on.
absolutely. I'm pretty sure that no matter what you put out, just having your name on it, you're popular enough in the community, that people are going to be like, oh, I got to have one of those, especially if you signed it or something like that. Like just having a signed ATO slingshot. You know, I would buy one.
It would be cool, but a lot of the things that are kind of holding me back on that is like shipping charges and all that stuff. Like, I don't want to, like the one I did on. I don't know if you saw that raffle that I did for the first ever hand carved ATO slingshot. I did a raffle only because I know I'll buy a new tool in the future after selling 6 or 7 of these things. Man, I'm talking. I got to charge like $150,
Yeah,
to make any money. To
I
make
hear.
any money, you know. So
I
I figured I'd do a raffle at 15 slots, $10. I take that money, and whatever the shipping cost goes into the cost, and I'll always end up having a little bit. And most people will get a pretty decent slingshot. That whoever wins the raffle will get a pretty decent slingshot at $10. I think
yeah,
that's a pretty fair. I think it's a pretty fair deal.
yeah. No,
You know.
I think that works out perfectly. Really.
Yeah. And I think that's the way I'll go about it. I'll do a couple of raffles on a live like this or whatever. And maybe if I end up getting enough of them built, I'll pop up like an eBay store or something and just promote it a little bit, and we'll see where it goes from there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But somebody made a good suggestion. I gotta find somebody who makes like wasp style slingshots. If I not slingshots, but the flippers. And I wanna get a couple of them with my new logo on it and sell those as flippers, 40 mils smaller. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely it
Yeah,
would be. And
yeah, the
some
new logo would make a pretty cool flipper.
I don't want to like make any deals for anybody else or anything like that. I'm guessing there could be a possibility of you sending like a larger quantity to like Omega Slings, and maybe I shouldn't be talking about it on the live, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
know what you mean.
comes a train.
I got one in my backyard too, but he's usually pretty quiet on the weekend. Right past that catch box and that little stream I was telling you about is a train line. Yeah,
Always comes at the right in the middle of my videos. It always shows up.
yeah, it's either that or an airplane, eh? Yeah,
Or the neighbors mowing the lawn or something like that.
yeah. But I think in the end that would probably be my best bet is if I was able to make these kind of things, stick them at somebody's store and just like sell them. Like I don't.
Yep.
Yeah, I couldn't care less. That's
Yeah.
that's why when I did the merch thing, I was originally looking into it to see. That's something you should get into too, man. I think it would be good for your channel.
Yeah. Well, I might. It's a
Yeah,
possibility.
come up with a couple of designs. Like in my case, I went with this company called Spring. I'm a little disappointed with it on some of the prices. I find their prices are a little bit high, so I reduced my my profit as much as I possibly could, just so people can get a fair price at something. But the quality of the shirts and everything are pretty decent, and I don't have to. I'm not responsible for holding any stock. So when the order goes in, it goes to them. They make the shirt and sell it to order. So they take care of all the shipping. They take care of everything. In the end, you don't have to. You just link these little shirts and stuff like that, which I forgot to do on this, but they link them to your video, and people see them, and if they want them, they buy them, and that's where it is. And you're not on the hook for having a whole bunch of shirts in your pocket, in your basement somewhere, just waiting for somebody to buy them, or there's no overhead. It's just here you go, guys, go for it. It's very, very simple.
Nice. Yeah, might look into that someday.
Yeah, it's
That's
something to
that's
think about anyway. You know, a slinging clay hat or whatever it is. I would own one of those. I'd be rocking it like my
I'm gonna get some signature safety glasses made.
yeah. Go for it. Yeah, yeah. You should go for it. I think I'm gonna take a few more shots here
All
and
right.
see if I embarrass myself a little more.
Okay.
Here we go. Oh, yeah, that felt good.
Where you hit yourself in the thumb?
Yeah, I shot myself in the thumb.
All right.
I got to remember to put a little bit more thumb in that shot because that's where I'm screwing up.
Mind trying something for me real quick? Just a few
Sure.
shots. Um, what if like you try with your? I know that this is so ingrained in your muscle memory with your elbow up here, but for me, I found that normal shooting elbow position was not good for me. Like when I shot short draw, I was elbowed down, which is counterintuitive because but just maybe try a couple shots with your elbow a little lower so that stops this from happening as much. Like
Yeah.
just try it a couple shots like that and see what happens. I mean,
But I know for sure that is part of it. I'm trying to remember to keep my elbow down because I keep my pouch more straight. But where I'm really screwing up is I'm doing this with my index finger, and I got to remember to put my thumb out
yeah,
because when I'm shooting my index, I'm shooting way more left, and I tend to shoot low, and that's
yeah,
probably what's when I do it really really bad. I'm like this. I can feel the pouch kind of collapse on my fingers, but when I hold the ball and I put my thumb in there more, I
yeah,
speed bump it out, and I'm shooting more straight from where my
yeah.
point is. But I got to
That's
remember to keep that elbow down because that's also another thing.
Yeah, I feel like elbow up like this has a natural tendency to want to make this go inwards a little bit because it's
Yeah,
hard. My wrist is already at its full stretch outward, so I can't. But if I'm here now, I have all this
all
flexibility.
that. Eh?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna give that a couple of shots. I'm gonna see if I can try to be more conscious of the elbow being down. Let's see.
yeah.
Definitely more straight, and I'm keeping my thumb. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it.
yeah. It's better.
See, I,
It's
I would,
really hard. It's like itching my brain to get my elbow up.
I know, 10 billion shots with
Oh,
your elbow up. It's hard to relearn shooting it like this. But I was gonna add to that though how I was talking about Andy Lowe does shoot with a high elbow, it appears, but
yeah.
he has his pointer finger like perpendicular to his thumb though. If you watch him, he goes like this. He doesn't have this position. He goes like, like that.
Yep.
So it's probably it may be another thing to experiment with is having your pointer finger facing pointing towards the ground, your thumb in position.
I have tried this a little bit, and it gets me into trouble a little bit because I find I need to hold the ball, and as soon as my fingers get in the way of the pouch, that's where shit gets real,
Okay.
like my thumb. That's, yeah, I gotta just like I don't know if you could see that good, but I gotta get my fingers to go around the ball. That's where I'm shooting more clean and more straight.
Me too.
As soon as yeah, and I gotta tweak my thumb in there a little bit more than normal, but I'm bringing all my shots straighter, so
Yeah.
I think maybe trying to go too fast is probably a mistake at this point for me. I should probably slow it down and just get the motion of everything set up first so I get the muscle memory and then slowly start to pick up the speed and then we'll go
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
Because where I'm fumbling a lot is loading the pouch. So I gotta try to get a yeah, I think that'll be good. I'll start kind of rolling it up with my thumb, drop the pouch into there, get my good feel on the thing, keep my elbow down, and just let it rip, and then uh, follow the step, and just trying to get some muscle memory in there.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I was gonna add to my thought on that, like what you said is exactly what I did too. I slowed down or whatever, but how Andy Lowe shoots in like this way, I think he likes a little bit bigger pouch, so he's pinching the pouch more than the ball, but it does not work for me. I'm like you, I need my fingers pinched together in the front. So it would appear, I'll have to talk to Andy, but it would appear that if you want to pinch your fingers like this, then elbow down is better. If you want to just pinch the sides of the you
Yeah, like kind of wrap the pouch around the ball, I guess. Yeah,
I I have to talk to Andy Lowe to get more details on it, but I'm just at a glance that's what appears from my own experience that if you want to pinch it like this, elbow a little bit more down, and if you want your elbow up, he has his fingers looking more like this.
yeah, That makes sense. But I was watching him like kind of in slow motion, just slowly picking away what he does. He keeps his tee, and he'll take a shot, and he just drops his hands like in this position, reloads, and he's like boom, and he's gone right away. Yeah,
Just
yeah,
goes
it's
like,
very, very, very efficient short movements. It's incredible what he's done. Actually, how he fine tuned his shooting. It's
yeah,
amazing. Actually, yeah.
yep. So I was planning on doing a co-live with Andy at some point here, and we'll talk more about like his thoughts on what I just said. But you know, it takes experimenting.
Yeah, and it's crazy how much my brain's twitching over keeping that elbow down. Like that's, oh my god, it's hard. It's like a mental block. I'm having trouble, like a lot of trouble,
Yeah,
but it does make a difference.
yeah.
Yeah. See if we can get a couple more through. Oh, that's that one. Well, I think the fact that we're getting some hits kind of randomly is a win and a step in the right direction.
For sure. Like the first step to stop hitting yourself in the hand and the face, and then then work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got myself 3 times today, which is 2 of them were not so bad. One of them was a pretty good one, but whatever. It's only 8 meals. Oop. Take care, Chris. Have a good day, buddy. Or is that Pedro? Might be Pedro.
Yeah. Here's an example of what I was talking about. left to right. The first cans that I started with over to the right, I hit them all first try. As soon as I get to a certain position, I start missing, and I have to like learn how to hit it when it's over here. Remember to twist my hips over. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and that's why this, if you care about doing well in the 10 can knockdown, it's advantageous to set them up in a row like that rather than just hitting one target in the center. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, even in my catch box from left to right, I have one that's about a foot, two 40 mil flippers that are about a foot apart, and I usually take a small step forward to hit the one that's on the far right. So
Yep.
that would have to be something I practice with, just pivoting at the hips, just trying to keep the shape and get the right angle at. But that's a very good tip. The next time I go out to the woods, I'm going to set up a bunch of shots on the log. And maybe I'll only bring 5 cans or so, but I'll spread them out far, so I have to make that adjustment to practice it.
Right. I
Yeah,
think another way to practice something similar to
we're used to shooting at 10 meters all the time. 5 meters is very tough.
yeah.
5 meters was very tough. I was shooting way high, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? And I missed it the first time, but every time you miss, you had to go back forward, and you had to do two.
Shots go higher. For me, they always go lower if I get any closer than 10.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
well, different styles, right? Too. So you're probably getting a little bit more speed than me, so your drop would be. I don't know.
I go every step forward. It's like the shot didn't have time to reach the peak of its arc yet, so it actually hits lower. Then back at like 15 or 20 meters, I have to aim even lower because the shot is reaching higher towards the top of its arc. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when I go back to 25 yards, I'm basically aiming about the same spot as I do at 10 because now the shot has come back down.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But if you're shooting narrower forks with a higher reference point, then your shot looks like you have very little, like, you're like, so only gets, you just have to keep aiming higher and higher as you step back.
Yeah. Well, when I was closer, because for me at 10 meters, I kind of start to come in. I arc at 5 and I come down at 10. I start coming down at 10, which was my issue. So when I got closer, I'm getting ready to shoot, and I'm like right in the middle of the target, and I sailed right over the top of it. And I was like, "Whoa,
Okay.
what the hell?" Yeah,
That makes sense now because you reach the top of your arc at 5 meters, where I don't reach the top of my arc until like 20 meters
yeah,
because I'm so much more parallax. You know what I mean? Big wide.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was crazy, but also I was closer too, so there could have been a little bit of this going on too, right?
yeah, it's
So
possible.
yeah,
And whenever the target is closer to you, if it's not right in front of you, you would technically want to lean down a little bit.
yeah,
Don't do that. That may also make your shot go a little bit higher too, because now your he has changed position slightly.
yeah. I actually want to give that another try again to see if I could figure that out a little bit because usually I bend at the waist, but I could have been getting lazy and I was actually bending at the arm, which is very possible. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. You never know, eh? Yeah,
All these theories help, but in the end, it's just practicing the actual thing that makes you
yeah.
figure it out. You know.
Yeah, well, the theories help you zone in on what might be the problem, though. Like if you don't really
For,
know where you're going at all, then
yeah.
forget it. You know?
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Like the theories can help you guess where to aim if you're in a new situation to start off with.
yeah.
Like you can
It gives
assume.
me a point to troubleshoot to start troubleshooting at least. You know? Yeah. Ooh, I gotta I gotta toss out some of these ammo. They're some of them are pretty rusty. Getting some wild flyers. You ever find after practicing a different style of shooting for a while, and then you try to go back to your standard way of shooting, it jacks you up a little?
Absolutely,
It
100%.
does, eh? Now the regular way I shoot feels foreign to me. It's weird.
Yep. And loading the pouch feels weird too.
Oh yeah.
And then I can't remember how to load it my normal style.
Because usually when I'm holding my pouch, I try to keep my fingers open a little bit. Like, I mean, I know they're curled, but there's no pressure on them, you know? I just try to keep it nice and calm and comfortable and relaxed. And now I find myself, I'm clenching with my fingers. I'm like, no, I got to let that go.
Right. And I wouldn't be surprised if you caught yourself dropping that back elbow now that
Yeah.
you to do it.
Yeah. Oh, the problems. But it makes it fun. It makes it
Yeah.
fun for sure. Definitely
Right.
makes it fun.
Keeps it interesting.
Yeah. I've got some of the catchbox liners coming in from Omega this week. I'm hoping that they arrive soon because the my catchbox back here is totally finished. I've got a couple of torn up ones kind of stacked on top of each other, trying to basically trying to block the holes. And my other one in my barrel too is just finished. So I got a new one coming for here and a new one coming for there. Every now and then you hear a whack and the ammo bounces off the back of the catch box and hits my canoe down there. It's, it's not the best. I got a nice bay window right here. I don't want to hit that thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
I'm
telling
ready to catch it. Yeah.
Mikey and Chuckin that it's a genius business model. They sell latex that blows holes in your catchbox curtain, and then they sell new curtains for you. It's like,
Yeah, imagine that, eh? Totally by design. Yeah. But I'm glad they're doing that. You know how many places you can't get the curtains to replace them? Like, man, I'm gonna buy a $100 catch box that I would have to throw away because or I'd have to go to the store and find some material that's gonna last. Nah, it's ridiculous, you know?
right. No, it's an awesome product. I'm so glad they got that. I bought 2 of them just in case they were out of stock next time I need one, even if it's a year from now.
Yeah. But this one here, the material I have here, I bought from GZK a bunch of years ago. They had like a big sheet of it. I think it was like 8 feet by 4 feet, and I kept on just cutting slices out of it and attaching it in the catch box, and it lasted for quite a long time. But now I'm at the point where I'm all out. I got one I've got folded over the top with another one, so it's like a double layer. I got like a quadruple layer going on, and it's filled with holes everywhere. And I keep flipping them around, trying to cover the holes. But it's time. It's time for a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes me think of something else I can talk about as far as my preparation for the tournament. So before I used to shoot mostly at 3/4 butterfly, like not quite full butterfly.
Yep.
And when I needed the speed or power at distance, I would then shoot at full butterfly. But I found out that my wrist position was not dialed in, so I would lose accuracy, and not just from extra speed, but from speed bumping it and all this crazy stuff. So I said, what I'm going to do now is just all full butterfly. And, but a consequence to practice butter 10 meters is you will blast some holes in your your curtain
Yeah.
a lot
It's the
faster.
curtain.
Shooting
Yeah.
a 9.5 ball gun 300 feet per second over and over again, and not much.
Yeah. That's some serious speed with some 9.5. You know, I had tuned some Sniper Sling Black point .7, and I was ripping Sniper Sling Black. I was ripping the 9.5 steel with the Sniper Sling Black at 315 feet per second, short draw. Like they were, yeah. I had messed with a bunch of tapers, and I got these things absolutely screaming out of the pouch. But it was literally like I was just poking holes through my catch box, and I was like, oh man, yeah, all
Yeah.
right, so this ain't gonna work. Yeah,
And talk about blowing apart some spinners, man. I would go through tough spinners in like a couple weeks shooting full butterfly at 10 meters.
yeah.
9.5. I mean, it tears some spinners off.
Well, those wasp flippers are pretty much indestructible, but man, when you start reaching that speed with an ammo that's kind of that weight or heavier, like man, when I did that set, I tested 11 mil steel also, and I was still hitting 275 or 279 feet per second with that. That's crazy. Imagine imagine the impact. Like I don't know how many times I didn't really aim for the flippers with that one. I was hitting them more with the 9.5, but I broke like two or three of them by doing that. I was putting splits in them, and they were starting to really cup out really bad. Brand new wasp flippers with the
Yeah.
8 mil steel at 300 feet per second. I can hit those things all day long for months before they give it up.
I kind of liken it to like,
It'll pierce a quick hole through it, in and out through the other side. And everyone thinks, "Oh wow, it's amazing, it's going faster." No, no, no. Watch the 9.5. The 9.5 will usually hit the front side of it, put a massive dent in it, poke a hole through it, and then sometimes pass all the way through with a huge dent on the exit, or just a real heavy dent and a split. Now, when you think of the damage in between the two of them, I would much rather take the 8 millimeter than the 9.5. Poke a hole in me, fine, that's
uh,
okay. But that 9.5 is going to do some major soft tissue damage, major.
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
That, that
And that's where the argument comes in. Like a lot of people will say, "Oh, let's do some hunting with 8 mil steel. Oh, I can kill this, I can kill that." Yeah, you can. But if you miss, that animal's going to go away for a long time, and maybe in a couple of days it'll end up dying from its wound, or maybe not, just living a horrible life for the rest of its days. But you hit that with a 9.5 steel or 11 mil steel, forget it.
right.
It's
Anywhere.
pretty, yeah, it's pretty much a pick your point at this point. Not only aim for headshots, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, as far as like what big ammo does, I have a video. It was called like trying half-inch steel with Southwell caddies or something like that, slinging bowling balls. Like, but anyways, so I get some half-inch steel, and I'm shooting it pretty much full butterfly with .8 Southwell. And if you do the math on that, that's over 12 foot-pounds of energy. And I shot a full soda can in the face at one part of the video, and it basically like made a golf ball sized bulge coming out the back part of it. I mean, like now even a 9.5 would have went right through that. It's just aluminum, right? An 8 mil would have poked through, but that complete both faces. That soda can, but there
Um.
is. Did I cut out there when I was talking, or?
Yeah. Just a little bit at the end there. I lost you, but the wind's getting really bad here.
Well, it's fun to play around with big ammo sometimes and see what it does. That's different.
Yeah, I actually wanted to do a video just like a demolition ranch type video where I just come out and blow shit up. And I was thinking at my work we have these varnish pumps that had these huge ammo like 1 inch steel balls in them. And I was kind of like, man, I'm pretty sure that if I take a frame and I double up some like .7 and put a huge pouch and just really let them rip, I'm sure we could do some damage. I'm kind of like, okay, but what happens if I hit myself? Like, yeah, that that's. I mean, things can go bad when you're doing dumb shit, you know. And I was just like, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna pass on this.
I've been planning for a while on making a starship type of slingshot where my whole forearm and hand will be covered by board, and then I'll put forks, at the end and launch some big ammo. That way, if something does go terrible and it works, I guess I could get a bad butterfly kiss, but
Yeah.
hand exposed to like
I lost you again, buddy.
yeah, I'm saying like it's totally scary what will happen to your hand if you mess up with 1 inch.
Oh, oh man, it would probably be amputations at that point. I think the that little 8 mil steel, you could probably times that by 1,000 at that point. It'd be terrible. Oh my god. Yeah, yeah. I want no part of that. Yeah, we were supposed to get like major thunderstorms today, but look at this. I mean, the wind's pretty bad, but look at that sky.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. The wind's really bad, but I had to give the shooting a break because I started to draw and my bands were vibrating like crazy. So,
Yeah.
but maybe I'll just go back to the high style. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. But
I want to stay on here as long as you want to, but just in case my battery dies and I leave unexpectedly, I'll just say right now that this is an absolute blast hanging out with Mark. I mean, I'm so happy you invited me.
yeah, it was great to get to know you, man, and it was a lot of fun to come out and do. We should definitely do it again. We could do it on your channel at some point if you want. That's no problem with me either way. It's good. So we could do it again anytime.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Like I said, I'm not saying goodbye right now, but my battery may die unexpectedly, so I just wanted to make sure I said thank you so much for having me on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. It was an honor to have you on here, and bounce some ideas back and forth. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Definitely.
I know these guys down here must be getting a little bit pissed though, and we've been kind of ignoring them the whole time. Hopefully they're still enjoying themselves.
Yeah, I am so bad about not responding to comments. I'm terrible at it.
A lot of times when I do it, when I'm just alone doing these things, I do. It's all about the people in the chat. So I'm going back and forth trying to talk about things. But I mean, there's only so many times you can talk about the same things over and over and over again. It's much more fun for me to have a guest on the on the Sunday morning coffee. Have a coffee with somebody on the chat, and it's a lot more fun for me. I think maybe for people who are going to rewatch this later on, I think it's going to be more fun for them too, because they can hear the conversations going on. We're talking about some tips and tricks and all this stuff. And I mean, really, for me, it doesn't really matter if we even talk about slingshots. We can talk about anything, about how the grass grows, what kind of animals we have, whatever. I don't really care, but it's fun. I think the people at home, I think they enjoy these better than just the me's,
Yeah. Both of them have their place, but in this style, it's kind of like when you watch a TV show, an interview show on TV. You don't get to ask questions and you interact. You just watching two people have a conversation, and you pick up from that, right? I mean,
it's the main thing. I think it's key. I listen to the Rogan podcast every single morning, every single day, going back and forth to work. It's an hour drive. And that's one thing that I found about his show is man, it's just a couple of dudes hanging out and chatting. Yeah. Every now and then, it's more of an interview style when they're trying to get to the bottom of some kind of scientific thing or whatever it is. But for the most part, it's just two guys chatting.
Yeah.
Spitballing ideas, having a good time. And that's definitely the way to go, in my opinion.
Yep.
It's definitely the way to go. And that's when I started doing this thing here. I think it was Rex who it was the first time I ever went live was with Rex. He had asked me to go live. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go live. I have no idea how to get you live, but well, I'll do it. Okay. And he was sending me the link and I didn't even know how I was going to go live. I had no idea. And he ended up saying, hey bro, I sent you the link. It's in your thing. I'm like, oh, okay. Boop. I clicked it and there we go. All of a sudden the show's on. But I was so freaking nervous, man. The first time I went live, it was ridiculous. I didn't know what to think about it, but after after going live and having a couple people on, and the for me the game changer was when I had JB on here, and we had an amazing conversation. I think it went like 3 hours or something like that, maybe longer. You know, we were just shooting the shit, two dudes hanging out, talking about all kinds of things, and we had a great time. And I was kind of like, this is what I should be doing more often, because this is a lot more fun. And then I had Ethan on, and well, we have you on here today, and Mikey, and you know, it was I had Leon and Andy did a little shoot. Rob Cross also. It was a lot of fun. It's definitely more fun. That one with Rob was kind of stupid though. I was out here. I was out here. We were chatting, having a great time, and then all of a sudden a snowstorm hit. I'm getting blasted by snow. Still out here shooting, and within an hour's worth of time, I had an inch of snow on the floor, and it was crazy. But whatever. We stuck it out and had a good time. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I also feel like this is absolutely the next best thing to hanging out with another person in real life, especially another slingshot guy. You know, this
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and I'm
all this.
all right, dude. We can wrap this up. We've been at it for like 2.5 hours anyway, so we'll wrap
Yeah,
it up. And hopefully we could do it again at some point. I had a great time, man. You're an awesome dude.
thank you. I would love to come on again or have you on my channel, whatever. This was awesome, awesome
Yeah.
time.
Anytime, man. Anytime. And thanks for the tips. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, anytime, brother. You've taught.
You have
Taught.
anything you want? Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you've taught and you know turn the tables and teach you something.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. And we're all growing in the sport in different ways, right? So anybody and everybody at home, listen to me. Everybody got something to add and help out anybody else. Everybody's got ideas. Let them out. Let them out. Show them out. Start a channel. Do whatever you got to do. Let out that information, guys. And it's going to help out the community, and it's going to bring the community closer and help grow the sport. Nothing more important than that.
Absolutely.
You want to wrap her up there, buddy, and we'll call it quits?
Yeah, I don't know what to say, but I had a great time. And anybody out there who wants to, you know, get together on a co-live, find me on Facebook Messenger. Probably the same goes for you, Mark, I would think. But anyways, like we'll talk about maybe, you know, finding a time and the fun way to do
That's the way to do it. All right, guys. You guys take care. Stay safe. Get on practice. Be good to each other. I will see you again soon. I love you guys. You're freaking awesome. Thanks a lot, Andy. You're the best, buddy.
it. You too. Take it easy.
Take it easy.